Why are so many Black Americans walking away from church? Is it Black fatigue, church hurts, or are we just tired of praising while still in pain? This is a question that a lot of people are asking because right now, people hardly go to church, especially Black people. This is what we want to talk about, but I'll be back with the commentaries after you finish watching these videos. Stay tuned, and if you've not subscribed, please do that. Like and share this video because we are going to make it very interactive and then we're going to learn from these people.
You guys want to know why the Black church is dying? It's dying because the Black churches chose to put rituals, religious stuff, traditions before truly teaching the word. For example, you go to church starts at 8, praise and worship is over at 9. Then you got all these other rituals, traditions, and all this other stuff before you even get to the word. Then by the time you get to the word, they preach the same thing over and over and over again by every pastor ever. This isn't a slight to any specific church. I've been to many Black churches, and this is just my observation. A lot of times, by the time the pastor realizes that, something needs to change, their church is already like, choo. So it's going to be harder for them to build back up their membership and engagement and all that. Now, the reason why this is happening is because they've catered to the older generation. And the older generation is eventually going to be too sick to attend church, or they're going to die off. So that leaves your church with a whole bunch of young adults and their children. The problem with that is by the time this happens, the older generation done dog the young adults out so bad that they done took themselves and the next generation with them, leaving the church to die as the older generation dies off. Another observation is a lot of times our pastors are 50 and above, and a lot of them are resistant to change and proud because, that generation is just old school. And if they're older than that, it's even more proud. So instead of them relinquishing some power to anyone else that's under 55, they would rather go down with the sinking ship. There are a lot of churches that are growing fast, thriving, and they are too big to be running out of school anymore. Their lease is about to be done, and they're too small to have it in anyone's house. So they search congregations that are really not even being utilized like they used to be to grow in, and pastors are telling them no because they don't want anybody. This is my church. I think that generation needs to realize that things are changing. What people want as far as the word is changing. People don't want them traditions and rituals and stuff anymore. They literally want the word. They want history. They want facts. They want the truth, even if they don't like it. But I think our community got stuck in a cycle of comfort where you say and preach these things to make people feel comfortable. And now people got so comfortable that that they're asleep. That Black Christians are asleep. We're waking up though. Just my observations, y'all.
So the commenter says, falling away is why the Black community is being destroyed or is destroyed. I disagree. The reason that the Black community is so disempowered and is being destroyed is because the Black church has had very little power to change anything. Think about how many churches we've had in the Black community. Growing up in South Philadelphia, there was literally a church on every single block. But you would think with all the churches and all the prayer meetings and all the Bible studies and all the vacation Bible school, all the worship leaders and the worship songs and the youth ministries, all of the Bible camps, all of the praying on and laying of hands and speaking in tongues and falling on the floor and rolling around and worshiping and putting on the full armor of God, you would think that there would be some power behind that to change things for the people in the Black community, but there hasn't been a change. And that's why so many people, especially in the generations beneath me, are walking away because they realize that for all the time their parents spent praying on their knees, nothing was actually ever changed in the world. And you don't have to be a part of that team that keeps doing the same thing over and over again and getting very little results. So this falling away that we're seeing from a lot of people in these newer generations is because it simply hasn't worked. You got pastors and parents and grandparents and godparents telling them all you got to do is believe in Jesus, and they're looking around and saying that if this is what believing in Jesus has gotten you, I don't want it, and rightly so. So it's not the reason that the Black community is being destroyed is because they're not going to church. No, because the Black community has been so tied up in this idea of church and waiting on a God to come and save them. They have not been able to advocate properly for themselves. They haven't done the work to heal. They haven't done the work to repair anything or fix anything because they're waiting on Jesus. And that's what has destroyed and dismantled and caused major destruction in the Black community and in the Black family.
Someone on TikTok said, you can look at the Black church and tell we used to be slaves, and I cannot unsee it. Let's take a look at these lines by Frederick Douglass. Who gave you a master and a mistress? God gave them to me. Who says that you must obey them? God says that I must. What book tells you these things? The Bible. Now have a look at these. How do you know it's right to flog slaves? Because God sent Hagar back. How do you know it's impossible to make anyone slaves but Negroes? Because it's impossible to make anyone else slaves but Negroes. While the latter is satire, they're what typical Christian catechisms or call and response frameworks would have looked like in the antebellum South. One set was given to white church members, while another was given to African American members. The catechisms were used to indoctrinate enslaved people and teach them to see obedience, subordination, and suffering as commands from God. In Go Tell It on the Mountain, James Baldwin confronts the violent legacy of Christianity and how it was used to subjugate Black Americans. The story is set in Harlem in the 1930s, and 14-year-old John Grimes is caught between the oppressive demands of his Black Pentecostal church and his desire for personal freedom. His tyrannical stepfather, Gabriel Grimes, is so consumed by guilt, rage, and fear that he demands the same misery from his children. Thus, his faith is a system of punishment forged from the same religious logic that once justified the whip. But to understand all of this, we have to understand the historical context. During slavery, religious instruction was used to systemically dehumanize Black people. Today, we can see that catechisms are distortions and just outright lies of Christian theology. But this is how Christianity was perverted to enshrine Black suffering as divine and permanent. In Baldwin's Harlem, the Black people are not slaves in the legal sense, but they are shackled by a religious ideology that equates pain with virtue and freedom with sin. That being said, Baldwin still respects the deep and complicated reality of the Black faith. The book is simply an honest depiction of how Christianity has been distorted into a tool of control over the bodies and minds of Black folk.
Another thing, them little small Black churches that, they family oriented, baby, them coats. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who was gonna say it, but I ain't saying all, but most. That's the code. Like, y'all can't do certain shit, y'all can't post certain shit. The church wouldn't like it. Girl, fuck that church. Growing up in the church showed me I don't belong in nobody's religion. Like, literally, I'm gonna just have to truly just go off the strength of a relation. Like, I'm gonna have to just learn the word myself and just go off a relation. Because y'all leading me, y'all gonna lead me straight to hell with y'all. And I'm not going with y'all, like, for real. I don't know why I feel like this, but I feel like it's a difference between white Christianity and Black Christianity. I don't know. I don't know why I feel like that, but I feel like that, bitch. I feel like it. Who gonna do something about it? That's another thing, y'all be mad at me because how I feel. How the fuck is you mad? Girl, if you can't go to Battle No Chase, then where the hell could you go? If I can't come on here and tell y'all what I think and how the fuck I feel, who the fuck else I'm gonna tell? Oh, okay.
There is a Black pastor by the name of Jamal Bryant that made a comment that the Black church, and I guess he's talking about the Black church in America, is 80% women. And he was talking about how men just aren't showing up in the church. Now, he said it's because the way the church is not really reaching the Black men's needs, He even made a comment that in Islam, the church is attended by 80% Black men. And I'm just like, I feel like he's intentionally leaving out a really, really important factor here. Black men ain't fucking with the church. Black men ain't fucking with the church. I used to go to church, and I used to see how the pastors would always play on our emotions as women. And I say our emotions as women because before I became emotionally logical, I was operating totally in emotion. And so you had all these women would be in church, flying their hand, crying and weeping, and their men would be sitting there looking at them like, is she serious? Like, it's not that serious. Like, oh my God, she's like literally crying and Men you're not manipulating them emotionally. And that's what they're doing in the church. So men today are not going to church because they see the manipulation. And I have 3 older brothers. One took his whole family out of church, and it wasn't even a Black church. I have my other 2 brothers. They're just not going. You're not doing it. It's a manipulation.
I have a question this beautiful Saturday morning for all of the Christians. And I am a Christian. I've gone to church all my life, but I've always known it's not what it's supposed to be. So the Black pastors are telling us to follow all of the rules of the Bible that was handed to us by our oppressor. Is the Black minister helping us, our freedom fighters, or are they our foremans for our oppressors? All of the things that they tell us are what we've been told. Imagine if in your Bible, instead of saying the whole world would hate black people, we were told that the whole world would fear black people. Can you imagine what we would be if we knew we were feared, which is what we are, versus what they have told us we are hated, and we don't question any of it. And that is the pastor's responsibility. So, if they're not helping us to unite, we don't have schools that go to the 12th grade. Every church should be offering their congregation life insurance policies so that the insurance companies will say, stop killing those black people because we got to pay those policies out when they killed them. But that's not what they offer us. They tell us to be good, to do what we're told, to pay tithe. And if we do that, we'll be rewarded in heaven. While the person that handed you the Bible is taking your tithes, and they're also taking everything here on earth. Tell you not to kill, but they kill. Tell you not to steal, but they steal. And they have the black person handing it to us on a tray. So, is the pastor a liberator or a liability? Is he the freedom fighter or is he the oppressor's foreman? I would really like to hear black Christians and black former Christians, those of us that have escaped the plantation. I would kind of like to hear what you have to say about this. Please chime in. Thank you.
So my auntie sent me a video this morning, and it was Dr. Umar talking about how white America is the creator of black ghettos. And although white America created the black ghettos, we as black people maintain them. He goes on to say that one of the biggest contributors to the maintenance of poverty within the black community is black religion and the black church. People get upset with me all the time when I question religion, asking me why I do it, why I'm always talking about it, blah, blah, blah. My intent, simply stated, is to get people to see that they've been lied to, and that religion is only used to oppress people, black people in particular. In the words of Dr. Umar, black religion is an ally to the white power structure and has helped keep blacks in poverty more than any other institution of white supremacy. And he gives 4 explanations as to why he would even make this claim. First, pastors and church leaders take millions from the black community and they don't give shit back. What problems are they solving in the black community? What institutions are they building? Who are they helping besides themselves? 2, he says they're stealing your time, and if time is money, or if time is worth even more than money, then they're robbing you twice. Bible study, prayer meeting, revival, 3 services on Sunday, choir rehearsal, and please believe the collection plate is there for it all. 3, they take all the money they've robbed you of and invest it into white businesses and put it into white banks. Same banks that don't think twice about discriminating against black people. And lastly, he says that these black pastors and church leaders brainwash everybody in the church. They convince congregations full of black people every single week that the only way things are going to get better is if God makes them better. If you pray about it, if you worship, if you just be patient and wait on the Lord, as if 2,000 years was not patience enough. He asked a really good question. How the hell do you convince a community that has over $2 trillion that they have no power to change their circumstances and that only God can do it? And y'all know what they say. If God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. And if God is all good, he cannot be all powerful. But that's a conversation for another day.
Is the black church anti-black? Part 3, the identity crisis. Although the black church functions as a place of identity for many African descendants of slavery in America, there is an ever-growing desire in the black community to find out who we were as a people before being taken from Africa. Unfortunately, in this search, there have been claims made about the peoples and societies of pre-colonial Africa that have no basis in fact, but rather help rationalize current miseducation about our history, resulting in the homophobia, sexism, and other abuses sanctioned by the black church at large. I'll quickly unpack some of those claims. Number 1 is that our enslaved ancestors were Christians before being brought to America. Not true. The regions our ancestors came from, primarily West and Central Africa, were by and large introduced to Christianity by the Europeans who enslaved them. Our enslaved ancestors were saved from death and abuse by their compliance with Christianity, and simply incorporated their own African beliefs into Christian theology. This miseducation is an easy way that black people dismiss the legacy of European colonialism and its impact on what we now believe today. I'll discuss this in part 4. Number 2, homosexuality and other queer identities are un-African. Also not true. I'll be discussing this more in part 5, but there are many many examples of queer African cultures and practices, and even queer depictions of deities that go back thousands and thousands of years. The truth is that our culture's homophobia is a remnant of European colonialism. Number 3 is that women empowerment is un-African. Come on now. Countless African women were in positions of power and leading entire movements and people groups. This is why I frame this miseducation as an identity crisis. We don't know who we were, and because of that, we have adopted European standards as our norms. And this is why one of the prayers I pray to the ancestors is lead us into truth, that we may know where we are going because of where you have been. Parts 4 through 6 are coming soon, so like and follow for more content.
Welcome back. You can see all of what those creators have said. So shout out to them, right? So this is what I have to say to close it up. I feel this isn't just about religion, right? It's about relevance. If the church wants the black people back, it has to meet them where they were, not where they used to be. Do you get that? It has to meet them where they were, not where they used to be. Because right now, a lot of people have so many reasons. They could tell you, oh, why is it that you can hear it in the video? Some of them are saying these books were handed by our own slave masters. So many people are now beginning to feel like, oh, these pastors are ripping them off, essaying them on a lot of them. Right, so many things, and I don't blame them. A lot is going on. You can see so many churches making so many millions, of dollars, billions, and then they're doing little or nothing for their community. So I want to know, why are you not going to church? Do you still go to church? Why not? Why don't you go to church? Let me see it in the comment section. Let's talk about it in the comments. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and share this video, right? I'll be back next time. Bye.